Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Matilda Swift, here with my co-host Samantha Cummings, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our Mastery Through Missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way. This week's topic is resources, tips and tricks. Before that, what are your wins and whinges of the week?
Oh, I get to say the win. The win this week is we've just had our mastermind day and I get to claim it as my win.
Yeah, fine.
And as usual, it's always a good day. So today was equally good. I'm equally tired from so much talking and thinking and planning and effectively having a therapy session.
That was a good one, yeah.
Which could turn into a good therapy session. So that is my win. Also my win is that I am starting edits on my next book and I'm sending off my next release, which is this month, to my formatter. So everything's kind of on track. I feel like at this moment in time, everything's fine. So that's a good win. My whinge of the week is probably that I feel like even though everything's going well, I feel like I'm not moving forwards. But it's like I'm in retrograde. I'm probably am moving forwards, but something in the atmosphere is making it feel like I'm going backwards.
I think this is a big part of my therapy today. Was I feel like we're not going forwards. It's just not a sort of progress that we recognize. And I think part of it is that we were saying earlier, if we compare ourselves to a year ago, it's just worlds apart. There's nothing similar at all about it. And it's just that we now have big expectations for ourselves and we want lots of things to be happening. And also I think we're both working really hard at this. So it feels like the amount of work I'm putting in does not equal the amount of output I'm getting, which feels difficult. But I think it's just, a stop-start situation where we will see the output and the outcome later. But I do feel like both of us are in a bit of a frustrating position right now. And not really for any particular reason. It just feels like I feel a bit frustrated in that it's not, I can't put my finger on quite what's not going at the moment and maybe what my next step is. So very Act 2, we're in Act 2 right now and that is where we're going to be for a bit and that is fine. We just have to deal with that. And we had some good solutions on the next podcast episodes we've got planned. We'll kind of fit in with that and hopefully help with that. I was also obviously going to pick our mastermind day as my win. I think what I'm going to pick from that is actually the plans we come up with for next episodes because it really helps us focus on kind of where we want to be improving. So last year we were really picking episodes based on kind of big things that we both were doing at the same time. And at the moment we're trying to be a bit more reactive to what we might be wanting to just discuss and wanting to process, and lots of smaller topics that we can dive into that are a bit more reactive to where we are at exactly that moment. So I'm looking forward to the episodes to come up and the discussions we're going to have. And that is definitely my win. And we just had, we had a lot of exciting plans today. I am looking forward to us taking over. We meet in the museum every month, taking over the museum with our gigantic long brown paper rolls and our planning. So that's going to be really fun. So that's my win. My other win is I'm going to just hold up my fingernails to the camera to anyone who's watching this video. I am going on a writing retreat next week and I got my retreat nails, which have got a tiny hand-painted fountain pen on my middle fingers of both hands. And it's better than literally anything I've ever drawn in my entire life. And someone drew it in nail polish on my nails after they already spent an hour shaping and colouring my nails in. So true artist has worked on my nails and I feel retreat ready. Do I have a whinge? I think similar to you. I'm just feeling a little bit wheel spinny at the moment and sort of not related to anything. But I have got plans coming. I have sort of, I don't know, counterintuitively, I've turned my ads off just at the moment, just for a couple of weeks, because I'm getting lots of paid back sales. And I advertise my ebook, and I can't quite tell if the ads are leading to paid back sales or if there's something else happening. So I just want to turn my ads off just to give it a little bit of time to kind of reset and have a think about it. And also, I want to focus on some ads for an older series that I just got new cover for the book one. So I want to switch my budget over to that for a few weeks just to see how that goes. So yeah, a bit whinge this week, and who cares, because I'm off to a Greek island very soon, and life will be wonderful, and I'll have no complaints, except for there's like earthquakes in the region, and last time this group was going met, a pandemic started, so something bad might happen, but
Yeah,
we'll handle it.
just write it out.
Yeah, we survived last time. So yes,
Yeah.
lots of wins and whinges, but all good.
Very good. So moving on to our topic of the week, we are talking about resources. Resources? How do you say that word?
I've got lots of, yeah, in the middle,
Yeah,
resources.
yeah, resources. So we're talking about resources. What do we mean by that, and why are we discussing it?
So when we're saying resources, we're trying to kind of pick a really broad word to choose everything that we use in our writing career. I'm kind of mostly focusing on apps and tech things, but not only. And I think part of the reason I want to talk about it is we were looking back at old episodes, and last February, so a year and a quarter ago, basically, we did an episode on what we use mostly in terms of like platforms and programs and things. And it's interesting looking back at that, is that like at the time you and I were both using really different things, and we were both at quite different stages in like how we handle our businesses. And looking back at it and comparing our list to today, actually we've got a lot more in common. I was copying a list when we were making it today.
Yeah, copycat.
And we're both using really different things. So
Yeah.
it was time for an update, and we just want to kind of talk about what we use and how we use it, and just to give people an update. And I think it's quite nice if we can try and do this one kind of annually as a good marker of how things are changing, and a good reminder for us to check our processes.
Yeah.
So where should we start? What have you got on your list?
I've got kind of a long list. So what I'll do is I'll just reel off my list. Some of these are like the same that I had on my previous list, and some of them are new. And I've made little notes next to mine for like, because part of this is going to be like tips and tricks about not just like what we're using, but how we're using them. So I've made like a little diagram for myself of which things I think I've got tips and tricks for. So I'll reel off the list, and then we can see how that plays out. But I won't go into too much detail right now. So I've got on here BookFunnel, Squarespace, MailChimp. I've got Amazon affiliates, links, Canva Pro, Vellum, Photoshop, Notion, Notebook LM, Unsplash, BookBrush, Discord, NetGalley, Coffee, TikTok and Instagram. And then I've got LibreOffice.
You know what? Can I just say, just listening to that, I was trying to come back to my list and like take a note of any that I didn't have, so I could put them in the show notes. And it just started to sound like a list of absolutely random nonsense words.
It's like random nonsense.
Okay, so
all of these random words.
And I was thinking, like, a lot of these like just didn't exist a few years ago.
Yes,
and a year ago we had really different lists. So anyway, carry on before I sound like a very old person.
So yeah, LibreOffice comes after TikTok, and then I've got on here, like, because we were talking about physical things that we have. So we both use a giant calendar, and one of my main things is Post-its is one of my best resources. So that's where I'm at now. The ones that I had last year, like that are kind of duplicates, are like Squarespace, MailChimp. I put Canva, although I have obviously since gone up to Canva Pro, and BookBrush is something that I've always used as well. But definitely I've got loads on this list. And BookFunnel I think I had at that time. I feel like I've got a lot on this list that I didn't have last time. Which is just like, and before we obviously I've started recording this, before we made the list and when we were talking about doing this last week, I thought to myself, I don't know what I use. Like, I feel like I don't use anything. I feel like I've really pared down my resources. I'm only using a couple of things.
I've just got a quill and a parchment paper.
Yeah, and then I looked at what I've got on my computer and like thought about, but like what things do I open regularly on my phone?
Mhm.
And yeah, like I actually have quite a lot of tools in my belt that I just take for granted, and that like maybe some
Mm.
people have never heard of or don't use because they don't know how, or can't see the benefit of them. So I'll leave that as my list right now. Do you have anything to add?
Probably. And yeah, I'll have a look at see if I can pick out the ones that are on my list but not on your list.
Mhm.
And then we'll talk kind of about both lists together. So a new thing for me is Otter AI, which
Mhm.
I'm using for my dictation. I absolutely love it. You get 300 minutes free in the free plan and 1,200 in the paid plan. So I'm switching between the two, really flexible. I have just started using Author Helper Suite, which Helen talked about in our finance episode. And I have had a couple of chats with her recently, and she just really sold me on it. And I've started using it. You get a 30-day free trial. So I started using that. I'm not using it enough, but it's useful because it starts collecting data as soon as you sign up to it. So it'll be helpful. I'm also, one thing that I had last year is Clubhouse, which I'm still using this year for our weekly chats for the cozy group, which is fantastic. AI tools I had none on last year, and this year I regularly use Notebook LM and Gemini. One that I've not started using yet, but I am very imminently going to use, and I have had meetings with other authors about it, and I'm really excited about, and everyone's talking about it, is Scribe Shadow, the tool you can use to get like an initial AI translation of your book, and then you can have it just speeding up your translations to get someone to check after that. Other things, some that I had last year, but that are different but similar to yours. So I've got BookFunnel as well, but I've also got MailerLite rather than MailChimp. I use Draft2Digital for my formatting. Love a free tool for that. And I use Books to Read for my universal links.
Mhm.
I also have NetGalley on here, and I used Victory Co-op for the first time this year. Absolutely loved it. I've got Facebook ads, which I wasn't using it with any consistency last year. Um, I've also just written Nicholas Eric, just the man, the myth, the legend. No, things like his book and his courses that I found really helpful. When you mentioned BookBrush, I had used BookBrush in the past, and I've used it to make book like 3D book mock-ups.
Mhm.
And I just feel like something about that site, I can never remember what anything is. It's like a blank in my mind every time I go, and I was like, it doesn't look different. It just looks like I've never seen it before.
Mhm.
And someone recommended to me a site called DIY Book Covers, and you have to go into a specific link, which I'll put in the show notes, DIYbookcovers.com/3D mockups, to get a really good range of 3D mockups. Though I would also say, actually, Canva started doing these as well, but they do like a
Mhm.
whole scene. And if you just want just the mock-up to put in other things, that's great. I've
Canva,
also,
I'll
because
just
I started
interrupt you.
writing, yes, sure.
Canva do just individual things. You don't have to have a
Oh,
scene, but it's just not as it's not as good. It doesn't really fit your book in very well. So
okay, but yet another
just
Canva Pro tool that
uh,
you haven't
yeah.
told me about, which we're going to have a falling out over again later. We'll come to that. Um, because I've started writing a 1920s series, I also am finding myself using a lot the Google Ngram viewer, which I just love generally because I really love etymology and kind of like understanding more about words. And I like seeing words that you think were popular in different times and kind of how they change in popularity. But it is really helpful for 1920s books just to see a word that you think, I can't tell if it was popular then or did it come in the 40s with like Second World War. And so the Ngram view is a big help. And then I've also started using For the Words, which I haven't used recently because I've been editing a lot, but I absolutely love it. It's like gamified writing platform. I need to get back into that. And then another new thing on my list, which I really wasn't using last year, and I am doing a lot with this year, is just other authors. Like I am really trying to make a big effort to reach out to other authors and set up just chats over Zoom. And it's been unbelievably helpful. So as I said, I spoke to Helen recently, and we've had a couple of chats. It's been really, really good. I have spoken to another cozy author, and we've already had one or two Zooms, and we're both kind of talking about ads because we're both at the same stage of trialing ads and learning things about them. And then we've got a chat next week, and I've set up another meeting with someone else in a couple of weeks, and it just feels like it's I think previously I just thought I don't you know, as part of my usual, like, I'm bad at asking for help thing, but I'd also thought, like, I don't have anything to offer in these conversations, and I don't have a specific thing I can ask about. Like, I just feel like I want to say, I don't know what I'm doing, which isn't true, right? I think if I was just at a stage where I couldn't re-articulate a specific thing that I wanted to talk about, and now I feel much more able to have conversations and even just to chat and just like update, and it's actually really nice and doesn't feel like I have to be able to go in with a particular agenda or know something. It's just nice to see what people are up to and to share knowledge, which feels lovely. And like I've just like described the concept of like friendship to a Martian. But yeah, it's been really nice.
You have described friendship to a Martian, because I am
Mm,
still trying to work on that.
mm,
I'm still trying to be human.
it's tough.
So I know, like, a lot of this stuff seems like really obvious to be using. So the things that I want to talk about from my list are what I'm using things for
Mhm.
that maybe people might not know or like might get something out of. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about was Canva Pro, because we always talk about Canva Pro. We should be
We
like,
love
we
it.
should
Yeah,
be
we should be paid
working for them, you
ambassadors.
know. Yeah, we should be paid to mention them, because I drop their name every time I can. I love Canva
I
so
would say, to be
much.
fair, I think to an extent we are being paid to mention them because it's only £100 a year to get a Canva Pro subscription, and we use
Yeah.
it constantly, and
Oh
you
my.
get so much for it.
Okay. First things first. Whenever you make an image or video or whatever on Canva, they tell you how much it would have cost if
I
you
love
didn't have
that.
Canva
Yeah,
Pro. And that little thing, well, it could be
yeah.
fake. I don't know. I have never
I
checked.
don't think it is.
But
It makes me feel like a millionaire.
I feel like, oh, this one graphic would have cost me £6,
Yeah.
and I'm getting it for free. Or not for free, but for free. It feels so good to be like, oh, I just saved myself some money. So one of the things that I think I would like to share tips and tricks on with Canva is what you can do with it that you might not realize. And
I feel like you're
I
smiling because you're calling me out for not knowing really basic things. I, I every time you say like, of course everyone can use this little thing. It's like it's just a button that you've pressed that I don't know I didn't press.
Right, but this is the thing, like, because of the sort of person I am, and this is just like how I've always been, because I love like basically breaking things, and if I get let into a system, I'll click around until I can basically find the code. You know, like I'm looking for everything that I can do in
Trying to get in
things.
the matrix.
I'm trying to get into the matrix. So with Canva, I learned quite early on what I could do that I assumed other people knew. And this is why I think it's important to talk about it, is because I assumed that you knew how to do these things and you didn't. And without having the conversation, like, you wouldn't have known.
Mm,
So
mm,
I just want to mention two things with Canva. You can, if you like an image, you can search for more images by that creator, like from that creator, by pressing the little I information button. And it also kind of will tell you what other words you could use. Like if you've looked
mm.
for like picture of girl smiling and you like that, but you can't see more pictures that are like just like that picture, you can look and see what other tags are on that picture, and then you can search through those tags and find other similar things. But you can also search for you can search through that artist, whoever has uploaded that image. You can search through their database, because sometimes they will have like a collection of images from the same photo shoot or whatever. And
I use
particularly
that all the
helpful.
time now. It's
Yeah,
so good.
it's really helpful if you're trying to get pictures or like images of people, and you want to have like the same girl who's like your character, because I like to look for character stuff, like and if I'm like, oh, this girl kind of looks like how I imagine my character, but I'd like to see more iterations of her, like I'd like more options. You can look through and see if there are more options for things like that. So that's something that I use it for. And also, this is something that was like a revelation today, which I thought was bog standard knowledge, but
It's
was
not.
not.
It's not. Everyone doesn't know about this.
I know, and I'm so like, I feel bad. Like, I don't want to be a gatekeeper, which is why I'm saying
You
this.
are a gatekeeper.
You can also, if you have a color scheme in mind, so if you want to find pictures or images that are in line with like the colors of your book cover or just your brand cover, whatever you're doing, you can search for images with a color specified. So if you're searching for village, like village scene,
You know
and
what's weird actually? Canva's terrible for picture villages. I look for it all the time, and there's not good village
Yeah, I
pictures.
know that it's not great for things like that. But saying like you're looking for a nature scene and you're like, I want to look for a forest. I love looking at images of like forests and stuff. But I want a forest that's like slightly more purple tones. You can select a colour from the search bar and it will show you purple
Yeah, it's got a
forests.
little filter button next to it,
Yeah.
which I've obviously never seen before in my life.
Yeah. And that's just like me, but like loves looking around stuff and finding things that I can click. And that's how I use Canva mostly, is like I really like to find similar things. So you've got all like the apps and stuff you can do. It's got AI functionality. It's got
And I would say almost all the apps are very good on the free version, because I use the free version on my work account. And we had a session at work where we were trying to share AI tools. So we just had everyone look for different Canva apps. A lot of the apps are rubbish, or they don't do what you want. But if you find there's probably like a handful of really good apps,
yeah.
I really like, there's like a Magic Media AI image generator. And there's also like funny ones where you can like skew text and put them in an image. Like there's useful tools in there, and I think they're all in the free plan.
And I use Canva every single day for graphics, for Instagram. I'm like constantly on it. I love it so much. I really wish I was getting paid to say this.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I have got on my list to talk about, like tips and tricks, is I know that you like to do free formatting, which works fine for your genre. For young adult, the formatting is slightly more nuanced. Like people want to see fun fonts, like nice drop caps, maybe some images, like header images and stuff like that, or scene breaks that are more styled. I have somebody who does my formatting, which is just me being fancy. But I do have Vellum, and the reason that I have Vellum is because I like to produce my own arcs for people. So that's what I use Vellum for, and it's a one-off payment to be able to do as many arcs as I want. And also, like if I write a short story or a novella, I can then format it that way. That's what I use Vellum for.
What do you mean by you like to do arcs for people? How is
Like
it different to the regular book?
I like to just, whilst it's being formatted, I like to just make my own arc with a specific arc cover that's not the main cover. So that's how I do arcs. It's like, here's a little arc. It has like all stuff in it that says this is not to be shared, and it has all different blurb and stuff.
Just on that as well, actually, thing that I think is relatively newish in Book Funnel is they've got an arc, like water marking function. So you can either put on the cover or the entire page this, and you can put the person's name. You can say this arc is prepared for X, and I think that is quite good at discouraging piracy. It shows like, I know this is you. Don't pirate this.
I'm also, this is just going off on a segue, but I did find a pirated version of my book on the internet yesterday, and could you even imagine? And so I have reported that website to Google. I was instantly
they'll be in trouble now.
Information, report to Google, filled the form in. This website has stolen my book. I'm looking forward to hearing all about how they're going to close them down.
Was the book really on there, or because sometimes they're just listed, but the actual book you can't get?
It was actually there. It was just on the page. It wasn't like a download. It was just there, like just on the page, which is so obviously.
Sad. I don't want to look for mine because it'll be there, and I don't want to know.
But because like the thing is that usually my stuff's not on there because no one gives a crap. But yeah, it was like the whole book just there on the page, on the screen. So I'm going to get them in trouble, and I'm going to hound that website until it's taken down. That sucked. Moving on though. So yeah, like Vellum, I love doing arcs. Notion. Oh, how much I love Notion. And I downloaded it a couple of years ago, and I got the app, and I think that the app's fine, but I really like the desktop version. And I use the app on the go, but I do like to see it on my computer. But when I first got it, I was like, it seems so complicated. There's so much you can do with it. Until you figure out what works for you, it's like just another app to make notes and stuff. But what I absolutely love doing with it, and it's made my life so much easier, and I showed you today, is that I set up pages on Notion with a list of like quotes and things from my book, and the quotes are all separated with like what book it's from, and like you can put tables in and stuff. So I did like the book that it was from and what the quote is kind of referencing. So it's either like sisterhood or supernatural life or romance or tension. And I have it obviously always with me on my phone. I have access to quotes that I want to use on social media for like, teasing and tempting people. And I also like add into it when I have ideas for things that I want to do on social media, different posts that I want to do, people that I want to contact. It's just like a great place. I call it like it's called like SBC HQ. So it's like my my little like author HQ, because it's so helpful. As somebody who struggles, like I've got a million notebooks and and you've seen me do this, like, oh, which notebook did I write this in? And I write things in different notebooks. And it's just such a me problem. But having Notion feels like it's so easy to store things that's easily accessible, and like I always have my phone with me. I don't know, it's like it seems so obvious, but just the fact of like being able to put quotes in there that are all separated into what book the quote's from, so that I can always just go in, copy and paste it into a Canva document and create an image.
I
I
think
don't
the
know,
really
I
good
feel
thing
like
about
I'm winning.
Notion is it can be as simple or complicated as you want. So even if you just start with having like, oh, I'd love a notes app that syncs between my computer and my phone really easily, in which I can put several layers of like headings and subheadings if I want to. That's pretty much all I use it for at the moment in my personal Notion. And then we have a shared Notion that is for the podcast, where we just have a list of all the episodes, every single link to every file that we need, and it's just super easy. So like the tables in there, it sort of functions a bit like everything that you could have in like Google Docs, Google, Sheets, all in one. And there's tons of stuff you can do. And like, you can code it yourself if you can code, and you can have all sorts of different displays in there, so you can make it show you progress bars and things like that. And like, I definitely, when I started using it, tried to make it do complicated things, and I just was like, actually, I don't want this. I just want a place to put information.
I do track finance stuff in there as well. I do put little financy things in there, because you can
Oh,
also
okay.
use templates that other people have made. So you can look up like an author planner, and there's a template for that. And if you wanted to track your projects and stuff, you can do that in there. It has changed my life. I look at it every single day at
And it's
lunch
free,
when I'm
just
at
to say
work.
that.
It's free. Yeah, it's completely free. Definitely not accessing it when I'm not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like adding
I
stuff
mean,
to
I
it.
have it on my work computer. I think it's a good place just to drop ideas in. So like, it just means that you don't have to step away from your computer and do anything. You could be like, oh, I just need to put a note in that to myself, and you just drop it in there,
Yeah,
and then it's done.
yeah. So I really, really love that. I also have, this is my favorite thing that I do at the moment. So I have always been, I've probably had Pinterest on my last resources thing, but I've kind of moved away from Pinterest because you can't use any of that stuff for marketing. So I use Pinterest.
I mean, I'm just going to say a lot of people
Okay.
right now in the cozy community talking about Pinterest.
Okay.
And I think there are people using it for marketing.
Okay, well, let me tell you, don't do that. Please. Please don't. I mean, I have in the past fallen for it, where I have done that. And it's funny because I can actually tell when I see other people using images in marketing. I recognize them from Pinterest, and I think, oh, I don't want you to do that.
Well,
So
as in they're using Pinterest to market, is what I'm saying.
oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Like
Yeah.
I get using it to market, but I don't take images from it and put them into
No.
like ads and stuff.
No.
But yeah, like I know people use it to market. I'm sure it works for people. I can't get into that. But instead of using Pinterest to make boards, like inspiration boards, which I do still do, but I'm talking about resources that help me like in a better business way, is I use Unsplash, which is an app, also a website, and it's like royalty-free images that you can use. And it's kind of like a lot of the images you find on Canva are also on Unsplash. So there's a lot of cross-pollination on that. But it's a really great place. I've been using it to find really good images to use on social media, in particular TikTok, because I have been posting like loads of quote stuff on TikTok. And what I found is like the sorts of images that do really well are really like dark, dramatic, like naturey sort of things, and like lots of flames um and just like exciting looking images. And I spend so long on Unsplash making like finding images and putting them into folders that I've got on there for my different books and things. And if I want to start making marketing stuff in Canva, I'll go into my Unsplash and look through my folders and see if I can pick images and stuff. I've just found that it's been really helpful to just be able to find great quality pictures, like really good quality, and not have to worry really about like the legality of it, which with Pinterest, you can find all your vibey things on Pinterest, but you don't know. It's mostly AI these days, and you don't know who actually owns the rights to it. So I really am loving like getting into my visual element, sourcing really nice images, which is like my favorite thing to do. Like I spend so much,
and they do look really good.
Do it. Yeah, I spend so long just looking through pictures, like save that to my folder, save that to my folder. And my phone is actually just now filled with downloaded images because I keep forgetting to delete them. So I'm going to run out of memory very soon. I've only got a couple more things to talk about, so I will move on soon. I have interestingly found Ko-fi, which we obviously have on the podcast, is a very fun new tool / resource that I actually think I'm going to end up using for myself as well, because we use it for the podcast to generate a little bit of income, which has been nice. But you can also
details in the show notes if anyone would like to contribute to keep the podcast lights on.
Yes, please. I've got many lights on, so
Me too.
I need the money. But I've been because I've started up my side hustle. I am selling digital services on Ko-fi. I'm gonna have to land on one of these.
Who knows? Yeah.
So I've got like digital services that you can list on there, and then also like you can sell physical products as well. So if you're thinking about selling stuff and you're not too sure if you want a full website or you want to test things out, you can do it on there. I'm really thinking about having a personal one for like something that I was thinking about, start another business, is whether people would pay me to do tarot readings for fun.
Can I just say, for like the last minute, I really thought you were going to say like selling picture your feet. Like you were very cagey around it.
Listen, that is like something that I always think about.
Okay, well, paying you for tarot readings. I am absolutely in love. So you do tarot, like you do a card pull every day on Instagram, on socials. And I don't believe in tarot, and I still love watching it. And it's like, oh, lovely. Like I think I don't believe in tarot, but like I like to have, like I like horoscopes. Like it's just like a fun way to kind of like almost gauge your feelings against what you see as a way to be like, okay, that's how I'm feeling today.
Oh, yeah. It's not.
Hope felt bad today, so I maybe need to have a think about that.
Yeah, it's not real magic, or maybe it is, but it's just I really like doing it just because I like to, like you say, you see a card and you interpret it the way that you want to interpret it. It's a message that you needed to tell yourself. But I do get quite a few people like saying, oh, like my sister in particular, so I need to make money off my sister. My sister's like, do my readings. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do like a full reading for you, pay me. So effectively I'm going to start charging my sister through Ko-fi.
That seems ideal. Yeah.
But yeah, some people, I kind of put a little note out there on my Instagram stories the other day, like if I was offering this like little tarot thing where I could read, like do you like a 3-card tarot pull, would you pay for it? And quite a lot of people said yes, and I thought that's exactly what I could use Ko-fi for. So yeah, I think I'll stop there. But
just to ask, by the way, could you do a specific like tarot reading for authors? And
I could.
like that's what it means for your writing today.
I could do that. I was thinking about narrowing it down more to things like that, because I'm reading my own
generally,
tarot.
But like maybe you could have that on your Ko-fi as well.
Yeah, like a little author tarot. Because I love it, and I have so many different decks of tarot cards. I only show.
I'm liking the Buffy ones that you're doing on Instagram.
The Buffy ones are so good. Their artwork is so nice. That is just one of my many tarot decks.
Do you ever think about making your own tarot deck?
I do. Yes.
Cards, fun.
In the cards.
Not even a
Yes.
fun.
I would love to do my own tarot deck.
I'm sure I've read about or I was hearing about a podcast about someone, and I want to say Willow Winters, but I'm not sure that really makes sense. But like someone who's good in the merch has done their own tarot deck,
Hmm.
writer wise, and that would be fantastic. Could you do a tarot deck to go with your new series, which feels
I
very
I
tarot-y?
could, yeah, they that is a very tarot-y one. I do feel like I feel like I could do like a wolf tarot deck, like a werewolf tarot
Yeah.
deck, but also obviously just like a witchy coven-y tarot deck as well. So
Hmm.
maybe like every book series I do will come with its own tarot
I
deck.
think so. Just also because like it feeds into so many of your skills. Like it's
Mm,
like digital art. You can do other digital things. So you could even have like on your website like a digital like tarot card pull based
mhm,
on cards you have drawn that go with your series. And it could be that if you're in future going to have like a direct sales shop, every sale that you got, someone could get a tarot card, like an instant digital tarot reading. And just like
mhm.
I can really see fun things like that
Thank you for
being
planning my business for me.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's so in your wheelhouse of like making things just always like a little bit more fun and
yeah,
a little bit more like individual and creative.
yeah. I was also
And you've got to
thinking
start
today,
something like
like,
that.
imagine if I had like did my own coffee beans as well.
Yeah, I mean that's what Luke Danes does, right? He makes some coffee
Yeah,
beans,
he does. Yeah.
aka
So
Scott Patterson, but
yeah, maybe one day I will be like selling tarot cards and bags of coffee branded
yeah,
towards my books. It's all
I
coming
think that's
together.
very doable.
Yeah, there
It's
has never been
interesting.
a better idea.
Yeah. Imagine if someone could order your books and they got a tarot deck and coffee beans in it. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think you need to start making a merch list, like a future merch list. I see what I am thinking about. This is very off topic, but like a one thing I keep wanting to kind of keep in the back of my mind is thinking about seeding something like that for the future. So thinking about if I wanted physical merch in the future, like what would I put into my books now to make that doable? And I don't. It's not necessarily that I want to do anything physically about it with my current series. I just want to kind of keep it in the back of my mind so that when it feels right, I can do something with it. We were
Yeah,
talking today about planning next series, and I definitely feel like I am already starting to think about my next one. And this one, I'm only book 3, and I want it to be at least 9. So I'm not stopping working this one straight away, but I want to be thinking about the next one and thinking about how to make it like bigger and bolder and fully audacious. And something like thinking of merch things I can put in there would be fantastic. I could
I
have my own tea.
yes, like your own tea would be amazing. I have already in my editing notes for the book that I'm going to start editing tomorrow, have made a note to say don't forget to like make this jewelry stuff really specific, because I
Hmm.
thought like imagine if I could sell like these witches they spell like rings and necklaces and stuff to keep like some of their magic going.
Hmm.
Imagine if I could sell jewelry. I'm just going to send it
Yeah,
to a QVC channel. But how like and
100%.
yeah, that's like the thought that I had was like, oh, like something so specific that you could lean on if you want, if I wanted to go big,
Mm.
could I could I then have this little side hustle thing in
I mean,
my
like
merch shop?
Sasha Black, aka Ruby Rowe, puts in like sex toys in her books, specific sex toys that she then sells. And like just by describing them, I was like, genius. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you want it again? It's like
Oh,
go big, go home. I love it.
yeah.
What else is on your list that you want to talk about?
Um, that's kind of it. I've got like TikTok and Instagram, but I feel like everybody knows
Yeah,
how
we
I
talked about
use
them
those. Yeah,
last week.
everyone
Yeah.
knows what I'm doing. I talk about it all the time.
I think that's one of those things where we think we do and we don't, maybe. But we did literally talk
Mm,
about it last week. But I think we want to keep
yeah.
talking about it, and keep kind of bringing it back. And in fact, we've got an episode coming up where we're going to be talking about it, kind of like
Hmm.
a recap of where we're up to.
Yeah.
Okay, so things I want to talk about that maybe Sam hasn't. I want to just say a bit more about Otter AI. I mentioned it very briefly, but
Hmm.
I was talking to another cozy author who I saw on her social media that she'd started trying dictation. And she mentioned in it that she was having to say the punctuation, which that put me off for so long for dictation because I absolutely could not bear the idea of speaking punctuation aloud. And I just don't. So I use Otter, and the transcription on that is quite good. Um, I think there probably are other free tools you could use. I think transcription of it is good enough for me. And then I run it separately through Gemini, and I worked with it on one book, and I kept refining my like instructions to it. And I'd say, oh, you've not done this. Can you remember to do this in this next piece? Or, oh, you've forgotten to do this. Can you do this? So I kept like reprompting it when it was tidying up transcription. And then at the end of that, I said, okay, I'm going to start a new chat for a new transcription. Can you collate all the notes that I've given you and feed me the best prompts to make you do this correctly? And so I took that out, and so I shared that with this other cozy author friend, and she said it was really good and it's worked. And she's put another couple of tweaks in, and she's given me some feedback on tweaks that she's using, so we can just go back and forth on that. And I think using something different to like a free, super free transcription, like you can get free ones for your phone. I think using something like Otter, which is designed to be taking transcription notes in a meeting with like a variety of voices, it's definitely quite useful. And then, it's made a pretty good job, but it doesn't have any knowledge of like the names of any of your characters and that. And then if you go to something like Gemini, I like Gemini because I think it's slightly more creative than like ChatGPT, for example. So if you give Gemini a list of like the character names, the setting names, anything that's like slightly oddly spelled, and it will just figure out what you meant and find places where those have been missed by Otter. So I really like that. One that I think we haven't mentioned too much is Discord, that we both use. We've got a Discord that is fantastic. I feel like we've both been very quiet in there this week because we're very busy, and everyone's on long weekends, public holidays, but the Discord in there is fantastic. And I have recently asked plenty of questions and got lots of help in there. And it's just, I feel like I should have been in Discord for a long time, and I've not been.
Yeah.
It's a bit like if Reddit and Slack had a baby, and that baby was nice. It was nicer than either its parents. I really like it. It's just a good way to have a concentrated conversation. And there's tons of author Discord groups. I think obviously the discoverability is tricky. So like there's tons of probably great Discord channels that I just don't, or not channels, what am I going to call them?
Servers.
Servers, thank you. Tons of great servers that I just don't know about, and I don't know how you would find more, but they crop up. You come across them, so ask people.
It's super secret, top secret, like places online.
Yeah.
I think it's still a little bit up and coming. So I think that there are like a lot of servers out there, and nobody talks about them, and it's hard to discover. But also, whenever I tell people, oh, like, have you been on Discord? They're always a bit hesitant, like, oh no, I didn't think that was like a place. I didn't think about it.
It's been very like gamer focused for a long time, so
Yes,
it felt a bit like, well, it's not for me. What would I get out of that?
Yeah, it's like a little bit of a hidden jewel on the internet. I love the podcast Discord. I do try and nip in there every day. This week has been terrible, and I did go in and apologize, so everyone knew like I had disappeared off the face of the earth. And then also my own young adult Discord has been so nice. I've really made some great connections in there, and like one person in particular, we are going to do some work together over the next couple of months on a super secret project. And you do know about this.
Okay, good.
It's really been amazing to find people, and it's like it's an online forum, but it feels personal.
Yeah, it feels like they're your friends. I'm in a couple of bigger Discords, and because you can split it down into I'm on a couple of different servers. Because they're split down into channels. Often on the really big ones, you just collect into smaller channels. So there's a really big indie author one, Indie Authors Ascending, that I think we've talked about before. I'll put a link in the show notes for that. That is really good. It's unwieldy in terms of its size, so you couldn't possibly be everywhere, but it splits down by genre, and it splits down by income tiers and things like that. So you get to kind of be in subgroups, and you can get to ask questions and things like that. So I think big or small, they're really good resources. And just being in one or two, people recommend more that you might want to be in, and once people know you're on Discord, it's a big help. So really recommend finding some if what you want is like Facebook group circa 2019, like a place where you can keep track of conversations and actually talk to people. That's what you get on there. What else I want to talk about? Yes, I just want to have a quick talk about AI, which I feel like we do talk about a lot, but maybe it's probably not regularly enough,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of how we're using it. So I talked about Gemini that I use for tidying up my transcriptions. I also just generally like things that that don't need personal touch. They just need like something creating. I probably use Gemini more at work than out of work, but
Mm-hmm.
I think using it in work helps me keep knowledge of how it works and like what's useful for it. I also think because I find it quite creative, often I use Notebook LM to get information out of it, and then I have Gemini make it look nicer, and then work with it to kind of make it be human, and then edit something myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, and kind of have a chat to find information, uh, get it to it's like a more intelligent Google.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of have a conversation with it about something. What have I used it for recently? Oh, I've got a character in a book who is Swedish, and she's a second language English speaker, and part of the book she gets really angry, and I just wanted to put in a few verbal tics that would show that she's slipping out of confidence with English. And so I asked Gemini to just give me a few either vocabulary or grammar structures that I could switch in. And that was just like, yeah, I could have spent ages, and I would have spent ages going down a real Google hole and I'm like, what's the grammar structures of Swedish? Which I don't need to learn
Yeah.
at all. But I can see that and then just go and verify something and then put it in the book without having to fall victim to my usual love of research.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, so I think Gemini great for, or whatever your like favorite AI engine is. It's just like great for little bits and pieces of slightly more intelligent Googling. It's like having an intern.
Yeah.
So they're not smart enough to do things themselves, but you can give them instruction and then they do it for you. It might be wrong and then you have to check it, but it's easier to do that than do everything yourself. And then
Yeah.
Notebook LM
Yeah.
is
Go.
is good because I constantly forget the like colour of the
Ah,
character's eyes
yeah.
and whether I've
Same.
mentioned something, because often I've mentioned it and then taken it out of in the
Mm-hmm.
edit and I forget whether I've said something. So you can just literally put your documents in, you put your PDFs in of your books and ask it like, oh, have you mentioned this person's eye colour? Yes, you
Mm-hmm.
have. Many times.
Yeah.
You forgot about it. It's blue.
It's
So yeah.
so good. I like a
Mm,
notebook doesn't share your documents. It doesn't feed the internet. It's just like a closed circuit. So
mhm,
it's nice to know like you're not feeding AI anything. And it's like it's it's the expert of your story when you yourself
mm,
can't be the expert. Because I am somebody who struggles with remembering what I've written. Like I know the gist of it. I know the world that I've created and I know the characters, but I can't like I read my books and I'm like I have no recollection of writing. Like
mhm.
I read my stuff and I'm like, oh, this is great. Like I
Yeah, this
literally
is
have no
great. Who wrote
I have
this?
no memory of this whatsoever. And I love that. Like that's actually I love that about myself is that I
Mhm,
can just read something and it's completely fresh. Next read through, completely fresh. But yeah, like things like remembering whether you described a character, whether um, like what the town looks like, or yeah, anything specific, and whether as well like something I've used it for is I've put in some like blurbs and stuff, or put in documents and asked whether it was the stuff that I'd fed into it was genre appropriate. Like, does this fit in with
mhm.
the genre? So it's really helpful just to do all those. It's like you say, it's like having an intern. I think Notebook LM is more like having um a mentor in some ways, because I feel like it's teaching me sometimes,
Mhm.
and I like that. It's like it's a nice way to learn. Like I have to ask the appropriate questions, so I
Yeah.
am like
Mm,
I'm learning how to look at my own work and the questions that I need to ask in order to like to do what I need to do. But it's just so instantaneous. It means that you don't have to kind of like scroll through your own work and think like, just was this a
what
section I
search
was
term might
thinking
have
about?
used to describe this?
Yeah, and I've
Yeah.
also used it to. I've asked this Notebook LM. This kind of feeds into how I've been using Notion. I got. I asked Notebook LM to pull quotes that were
Mhm,
specific, either like genre specific. So quotes from a book that fit to this genre, quotes from this book from my book that fit to like talk about relationships, or that are like the most unusual parts of my genre, and it pulled loads of examples for me so that I could then
mhm,
put them into another document to use as and when I want. And that's helped my marketing so much. So like
mhm.
posting on social media now is a breeze. I don't even think about it because I've already done all that work that would have taken me hours and hours to trawl through my own PDF to pull quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm not doing that anymore. I've just got this doing it for me.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I think if anyone's listening and they think, oh, I've tried to get AI to do that and it was rubbish, like things are improving like by the day. So if you've tried something and it didn't work last time, give it another try because it will just improve astronomically. Because one other AI tool that I use in a really specific way is the AI tool in Photoshop. And I am not, I have used Photoshop before for work, so I know kind of where everything is and how the basics of it work, but I know it's also so complicated that like to be a good Photoshop user, you have to really be on it a lot. And I don't particularly want to do that. But my dad, it takes photographs and spends a lot of time like refining his photographs, and so he's on Photoshop a lot, and he was he's a bit like you, like he loves like pressing new buttons and finding what stuff does, and he found a tool where it's got an AI function where you can feed it a picture of something and it will create an image that is in line with that in some way. So you could put the book cover in and tell it what you wanted. So, for example, like, oh, an afternoon tea scene in a sort of English countryside setting, and it will take things like the things on the book cover. It will take the color palette for that, and it will create a whole new picture, but it fits in with that book cover, so they're kind of too much together. And he found that, I can't remember how we got onto it, but like he was like, oh, I think you could use this for your ad images. And so basically you can take this original image that it generates, and you have to give instructions. So you tell it to make something like an afternoon tea scene in an English countryside, cafe, and it makes that. And then you think, oh, actually, it's got a picture of scones here, but what I want is a chocolate cake. And you can just like, outline that area, and you can give it another AI prompt and just tell it to make chocolate cake, and it'll give you variations on that. You can decline and accept them. You can refine the prompt in a new way, and you can work on little bits of the picture. And then you can also say, can you make me a book here? Like put an upright book standing on the table, and you tell it already a size by highlighting the area, and then you can put your book cover on top of it. And that is what I've been using. And so my dad was doing that for me, and I didn't know that it was going to do well at all. Like the standard convention is just like book cover and book cover background. Like try that, and then maybe some images that fit in with the book cover. And I was like, okay, I'll try this image that my dad made, and it worked really well. And it was very,
Yeah.
very popular. I was like, okay, well, I'll get some iterations on that. And I've got cats in my book, so can you add a cat in the corner? Yes, I can do that. And like the back and forth between me and my dad about this, and I was like, actually, I could just do this myself. And so I've got his Photoshop access, and because he's got 2 licenses, so I can access that and do it myself. And having seen what he can do, and when he was showing it to me, he'd been using it for a couple of weeks, and he was showing me how to do it, and he was like, oh gosh, it's even better than when I started using it. And I was, he was like, oh, it's sometimes really bad at making cats, for example. And it is sometimes really bad at making cats. Like it'll make a cat that just looks like it's just a head with a tail poking out at the end of it. But when he first started doing it, it would constantly make weird mistakes with cats. And now it's like maybe 1 in 5 cats looks like it would not have been born. But the others look fantastic. And it's just improving so quickly that if you've tried something a week ago and it didn't work, try it again.
Yeah.
And it should be much better.
Yeah, it's constantly improving. And it's a difficult one because obviously AI is such a touchy subject, and I don't want to be kind of like leaning into generative AI because ethically and stuff it's like a little bit difficult to talk about. The thing that I kind of find hopeful is that like in my day job, I sit next to the design team. So I've got 2 graphic designers next to me. And they love it. They love Photoshop, the whole AI thing on Photoshop, because it really helps cut down on time because they're so inundated, they've got so much work to do. Is that they don't see it as a threat, they are seeing it as a really helpful tool. And
it is really tricky. Like I think there's no, like we're in a difficult time of the conversation about it, and then everyone's got to make their own decisions. And I think some people are really anti-AI and can't see how you could want to use it and how you couldn't see it as theft. And I do get that, and I think, but it's like the computer that you're working on right now is made from machine parts that will be used to poison parts of the world when it's done with. Like they will be sent to a beach in the Philippines and poison the sea there. So it's like we're all compromising, and I think we can't really get into that. And like it might be really nice if we all were like cutting, using like proper old letterpress machines to make newspapers. It would be lovely. I love a letterpress machine, but we're not. And so I think it's it's up to everyone to decide what they want to do, but it's also worth knowing what tools are out there and how they're working, and knowing that everyone's using different tools, and there are people who are writing books with AI, and that's not something I would want to do, and I don't see that I would enjoy that either. I don't see how people enjoy it, but it's interesting to hear about, and kind of it's also like a little bit shocking when you hear about it and you just think, wow, I just didn't know AI was there. It is worth knowing where it's up to. So I think this is not a referendum on AI. This is just kind of what we're trying at the moment and what we're seeing works well for us.
Anything to make my life easier is great. and I never want to remove the artistic part of my life or anyone else's life. Like I love writing books. I don't know why I would never want a computer to write it for me, so I'm fine. Like, and the people that want to, go ahead. Like, whatever. It's fine.
And loads of these tools that we like are not AI, or there's AI somewhere in the background that we can't control. Like, the world is a complex place.
And I know I don't want to talk about AI and just like go off on a spiel, but like AI, the term AI doesn't even make sense anymore. Because AI to me is like Siri. It should be like, that's AI, but no one calls Siri AI. And like special effects in films, that's like people call that AI, and some of it is like there's just the definition of it is just gone crazy. And
really, I'm focusing on like I'm looking out for Terminator. That's when I know I'm gonna be worried. So I'm
yeah.
When there's like
when it can answer me back and say no, then I'm like, this is AI.
Like Skynet, stay away. But everything else, but hopefully we've given like a good rundown of like various tools. There's things here that we haven't gone into detail on, but I'll put everything in the show notes, and we've mentioned various bits of it in the past. And do hop into our Discord if you want to ask any further questions about it. That will be our question of the week, is like, what are your favorite resources that we did or didn't mention, and what are your tips and tricks for them? And as I said, hopefully we'll revisit this topic, as and when makes sense, but like just to keep updating on what we're using and how it's working for us. And we'd love to hear what you use. Okay, next week we are talking about newsletters and bonus content, a favorite topic of mine. How do you feel about it?
I don't feel great. No, it's fine. Newsletters and bonus content is part of my process that I haven't got nailed down. It's the bit that I've always struggled with, because it seems like extra work that I don't feel like I have time. To be fair, newsletters and stuff I do love doing newsletters, but I have got big gaps in my knowledge for that whole process. So I'm looking forward to talk about it, because I know you're on it and are always guiding me. So like, everyone will get to see how much you guide me on this.
I think it's a good topic as well, because I think there's so much scope. Like, there's so many things we could do with it, and there's things that I don't do that I want to do more on, and there's things that I do that I think, I'm not sure if it's worth my time or I'm doing it correctly. So it's kind of a good chance to like drop in, and I think it's one of those good topics where we're at different places, and it'll give a good overview of people who are also at different places. So we will look forward to talk about that next week. As we mentioned, we've got a Discord. Notes from the show note. Details in the show notes. We have got a coffee for keeping the lights on, buying us cake, buying us a little bit of caffeine. Link in the show notes. There will be 10,000 links in the show notes today, because we're putting in all the resources that we've mentioned. And we will look forward to hearing about yours, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.